The Corridor Quarantine Enforcement Authority classified me as a Category 3 biological contamination risk 11 years ago, and I will tell you this for free. It is the single most useful thing that has ever happened to me. I ran a salvage hauler called the Cathara Sow out of Orvith Rack, a fuel and repair way station bolted to the ass end of the care debris field. The rack was the kind of place where nothing legitimate happened, and everything necessary did. I bought decommissioned equipment, stripped it for parts, sold the parts, and moved on. I had done this for going on a decade. I had a license, a route, and a reputation for showing up when I said I would, which in the salvage trade is a rarer credential than it sounds. The Category 3 came out of a run I did 7 years back, hauling medical surplus off a station that turned out to have had a non-Terran pathogen problem 3 months prior. The authority cleared me, declared me non-infectious, non-contagious, fully decontaminated. Then they stamped my hauler's registration with the Category 3 risk flag anyway, because that is how bureaucracies work. The clearing stamp goes in one drawer and the risk flag goes in another, and nobody checks whether the two drawers are talking to each other. What the Category 3 flag means in practice is that any HFY agent who wants to board the Cathara Sow has to come in a full biohazard suit with a certified decontamination team behind him. At Orvith Rack, assembling that team took a minimum of 72 hours. I knew this because I had read the regulation. I had read every HFY regulation there was, cover to cover, in self-defense, because when you are Category 3, you learn fast that the only protection you have is knowing their rulebook better than they do. I found the child at 03:14 on a Tuesday. I had taken delivery of a consignment of decommissioned medical equipment from a Sorath transit broker. Sealed canisters, listed as emergency biomedical units, inert and decommissioned. Routine. I was working through the manifest by hand in the cargo hold, the way I always did, because the Sow's manifest scanner had been unreliable for 3 years, and I had never gotten around to replacing it. I unsealed the third canister. She was inside it, small. Lavender pale skin with the faint iridescence that Sorath children have, the kind that catches light at certain angles and makes you think you imagined it. Silver white hair, eyes that were green in a way I don't have vocabulary for. Not plant green, not light green, not any green I had a name for. She was curled on her side, breathing slow and even, asleep or close to it. Pressed in beside her, taking up almost no space, was a small carved bird. Wood, hand-carved, the feathers done one at a time, with something fine-pointed. Someone had put it in there with her. I stood in my cargo hold at 03:14 in the morning and looked at the carved bird and did not say anything out loud for a while. Then I went forward to the communications console and filed a biological welfare discovery under Colonial Compact Emergency Medical Code, Section 4, Subclause 7. Live non-Terran minor, found in transit aboard a licensed salvage vessel. Filed at 03:18. Time-stamped. Transmitted to the Corridor Welfare Registry, Orvith Rack Station Authority, and the nearest Sorath Resettlement Coordination Office, which was 17 relay hours out. Then I went back to the cargo hold, sat down on an equipment crate, and waited for her to wake up. She did. At 03:41. She looked at me without moving. I looked at her. I put the carved bird in front of her where she could reach it, and slid it toward her slowly, across the deck plating. She watched it come. She picked it up. I went to the forward galley, and heated a ration pack. I didn't know what Sorath children ate. I knew they were not allergic to standard compact field rations, because I had once read a CQA supplementary nutrition bulletin in a waiting room, and it had covered basic interspecies dietary compatibility. I am a man of diverse and entirely useless knowledge, which occasionally becomes useful. I set the ration pack on the deck in front of her, and backed up a step, so she had space between the food and me. She ate about half of it, methodical and without hurry, like someone who had learned not to eat fast, because fast means the food might disappear. She held the carved bird in her other hand the whole time. She did not put it down once. Inspector Orvath arrived at 06:11. CQA badge, Formal Transit Authority. He had a Class 9 biological containment order in his hand for unregistered non-Terran biological material discovered aboard a Category 3 risk vessel. He announced this through the external comm from the dock, because he could not board. Category 3, No biohazard team. 72-hour minimum to assemble one at Orvith. I keyed the comm from inside. Thank you, Inspector. For the record, the Biological Welfare Discovery Report for the minor in question was filed at 0318. The welfare hold under Section 4, Subclause 7, was time-stamped 3 hours before your order was generated. Subclause 7 mandates a 30-day provisional care period during which no competing administrative order may supersede the welfare hold. I've transmitted the documentation to the station authority and the registry. You're welcome to review it. There was a pause. The vessel is Category 3, Orvath said. The child is aboard a contaminated vessel. The vessel is cleared, I said. The flag was never removed. That's a different problem, and it's yours, not mine. The child is currently in non-contaminated cargo space that has never had a Category 3 incident. If you'd like to file a boarding request, you'll need a full biohazard team. I understand the RAC can have one assembled in about 72 hours. Another pause. Longer. The registry will flag this file, he said. I expect they will, I said. I flagged it myself. That's what filing means. He left. He came back twice more over the next 4 days with different paperwork, and I referenced different subclauses each time, and eventually he stopped coming. I had 11 years of practice at this. I knew his rulebook. I knew it the way a man knows the water table under land he's worked a long time. Not because he loves the water table, but because ignoring it is how you lose everything. The Sorath Resettlement Coordinator sent an acknowledgement at day 6. They were routing a liaison to collect the child. Estimated arrival, day 29. Day 29 came. The liaison did not. Day 31. I filed an amended welfare report. Noted that the child remained in my care. Noted that the 30-day provisional period had elapsed without a transfer being completed. Filed it to the registry, the coordinator's office, and Orvith RAC Station Authority, all time-stamped. The coordinator's office replied at day 33. System error in the routing protocol. The liaison had been dispatched to a different way station. They would refile the transfer request. Estimated new arrival, day 58. Day 58. Nobody came. I filed again. I got an automated receipt. I filed again after that and got a different automated receipt from a slightly different address, which suggested someone had reorganized the database and not told the old address about it. I stopped counting the days at some point. I can't tell you exactly when. What I can tell you is that the carved bird lived on my instrument panel for 7 months. She put it there herself, reached up and set it on the edge of the panel one morning while I was running the pre-transit checklist, and left it there, and neither of us said anything about it. By the time I ran that checklist every day, I had already stopped noticing it consciously, the way you stop noticing a thing that has become part of the shape of where you are. I taught her to read cargo manifests. Partly because it was something to do on long hauls, and partly because it turned out she was faster at pattern recognition than I was, and I am not a man who wastes a useful asset. She had opinions about the SOW's scanner problem. She was right about the scanner problem. I let her fix it. The registry sent a final status inquiry at month 11, requesting confirmation of child's current custody status for administrative closure of the open welfare file. I confirmed. I filed the appropriate form. I ticked the box that said provisional care arrangement, ongoing, no transfer completed. The file closed. I got an automated confirmation. No one followed up. The Corridor Quarantine Enforcement Authority classified me as a Category 3 biological contamination risk 11 years ago. Before that, I was a salvage hauler who kept to himself and stayed out of the way and asked nothing of anyone and expected the same in return. I was, as I said, nobody's problem. Then she came through the hatch. Now I am still nobody's problem, except for the small one who has claimed the co-pilot's seat and corrects my decimal entries and keeps a carved bird on the instrument panel where the light hits it in the morning and makes it look, for a moment, like it might be about to fly. That will do.